What's up, everybody? Got another review for you, and this time we're going to be talking about the movie The Bride. Well, we got yet another Frankenstein film, even though we just got one not too long ago, which was actually one of my favorite movies of last year, so there's that. In this new iteration, however, they get a little creative with it by adding their own spin on the classic story by having it set in 1930s Chicago. After seeing the marketing for this movie, it managed to grab my curiosity, and I knew right then I had to check it out. Is it any good? Well, let's talk about it. The movie story follows Dr. Frankenstein's lonely creature who travels to Chicago to seek the aid of Dr. Euphronius in creating the companion. The doctor reinvigorates a murdered young woman, and the bride is born. She is beyond what either of them intended, igniting a combustible romance, the attention of the police, and a wild, radical social movement. After catching me off guard and total disbelief, this movie was way better than I initially thought it would be. I honestly didn't expect much out of it beforehand, and it wound up being a really profound, well-made film. So I guess you could say that this movie itself was a fun little surprise. While I do have a couple of issues with the movie, of course, I will address those later on. Right now, I want to talk about the many great things the movie has going for it. That all includes just how creatively different it is, amazing production design, great cinematography, wonderful acting, and simply how brutal it gets. What I loved the most out of the movie was simply how creatively original it is. It revitalizes the classic monster story that we all know and spins into a Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing, and it was neat how it's done. If you're familiar with Mary Shelley's personal life story, then you should know that she was one of the biggest advocates for women's rights. The movie takes that information and uses it for the film's main central theme of feminist empowerment, and it really worked out great. As far as the movie itself goes, it wonderfully Frankensteins together many different genres all into one film that includes horror, romance, science fiction, gangster drama, musical, and action. That doesn't blow your mind, then I don't know what will. With the movie being written, produced, and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, she did a fantastic job with this movie. The movie's production design was something truly magnificent. I love the way how it managed to perfectly capture the aesthetics of the 30s. It was really immersive with how it was shot on location in New York, even though the movie says it takes place in Chicago, but whatever. Either way, the movie was well put together, whether it be the set design, costuming, makeup, lighting, and everything else involved. It's even a visually dazzling film with its amazing looking cinematography. There are plenty of shots throughout the film that look absolutely stunning with some immaculate camera work involving great use of framing and composition, along with the use of color grading as well. The movie really comes to life as it visually pops off the screen. As far as the talent in front of the camera goes, Jessie Buckley is the shining star of this movie. With her electrifying, one-of-a-kind performance, she wonderfully brings the bride to life. Jessie was absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't have imagined anyone else in the role. When it comes to Frankenstein's monster, or as he is simply called, Frank in the movie, Christian Bale was magnificent with how he was able to portray Frank's vulnerability and commanding presence. It was kind of neat to see him have a try as the monster, and I thought he was neat. With it being a horror movie and whatnot, there is plenty of graphic gore to go around that will easily satisfy any fan of the genre. I will admit that I did not expect the movie to get as brutal as it got, but sure enough, it did. There are some parts that will make you squirm in your seat because it gets downright nasty at times. In a manner of speaking, this movie was bloody fun. What I didn't like about the film was simply how the movie's tone was inconsistent for the most part. With the way the movie sometimes doesn't take itself serious half the time, it does veer down camp territory with some tongue-in-cheek humor, and it kind of clashes against the film's more serious and dark nature. Another thing that bothered me is the out-of-place subplot that involves a detective that really goes nowhere, and you can tell it's only added to pad some extra time into the movie, which honestly could have been a tad shorter. Other than that, I still managed to have a lot of fun with this movie. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, but there is plenty of entertainment to be had with it. With that said, I highly recommend checking this movie out. Overall, The Bride is a fun, monster-sized tragic love story that reinvigorates the classic Mary Shelley story with a unique spin. With the movie being ambitiously bold, it managed to take some risks, and it wound up being rewarding in the end. It's not a perfectly made film by any means, but it does leave some slight room for improvement. I give this movie an A minus. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to keep up my real reviews.